Hello, listeners, and welcome to the latest episode of the AdQuick Madvertising podcast, a podcast that explores the intersection of technology, content, creativity, all of the things that you care about. Today, we have a special guest. We have Marissa Kraines. She is the VP and head of brand marketing at Webflow, where she leads the company's overall brand, storytelling, and go-to-market narrative with a particular focus on B2B, making B2B marketing more human, humorous, and memorable. She has a great career. She's a long-term Salesforce employee. Prior to this, she's a digital pro and a social pro that everyone knows. We had many requests for Marissa to come on the show, so we're lucky to have her here.
Oh, wow. I'm feeling a little starstruck with myself right now. You make me sound so good. You must be a branding expert.
So Marissa, I think we should start to give some context to our listeners.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your role at Webflow and what you're focusing on there so we can get some context to your day-to-day?
Yeah, as I'm 5 months in, just hit that mark on Sunday, and I'm leading brand marketing. And what that includes is events. It includes creative. It includes web strategy and web development. It also includes video marketing, as well as integrated marketing and content marketing. And so I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is the opportunity to really bring together the marketing organization and the marketing function. So there's multiple parts of marketing, obviously, across a marketing organization that roll into the CMO, and bringing on an integrated marketing function that started, I think, a month after I did, was really the idea that we need to showcase the larger moment that we can have at Webflow, and how do we bring together the creativity, the product functionality, all of the great things that Webflow is doing into a single marketing format, into a single go-to-market moment. So there's so much that I'm focused on, but that's the thing that I'm most excited for within this team right now.
That's awesome. And I'm very familiar with Webflow. I've used you all with many companies. It's a joy to use. There's a lot of software that's annoying. Webflow does not suffer from that.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
and so for Webflow, you do a lot of what I do as well, which is marketing to marketers. You're selling into marketers. And, our listeners also sell into marketers, whether it's they're pitching an agency or pitching a client on a creative campaign, or they're even just pitching their boss on an idea. And so you've been in the role of marketing marketers a long time at Salesforce. You were doing something similar. I'm curious, can you give some insights how you see being most persuasive when presenting ideas just to a marketing person to try to sell them for something?
Okay, I love that question. It's a little, I feel like there's a lot there. In terms of selling into another marketer, yes. I think at Webflow, I think there's two different things here. So at Webflow, it's really exciting because I am the ideal customer profile. So I actually have this opportunity to influence the product more than I ever have before. I have calls with our research and development team. I have our chief product officer being like, Marissa, I need an hour with you a week to talk about the product. And that's something I've never actually had the experience of before. So I'm truly marketing to myself. And I think the most fun thing there is that I actually get to be like my own judgment. I get to say, does this interest me when I'm marketing? Does this solve my pain points? And I get to actually be like, I am actually the one that would be the one evaluating this from the other side. So that's something that's really different and really exciting being a marketer at Webflow. I think on the other end, when you're actually marketing internally to other marketers, you're managing up, you're presenting ideas. I think the thing for me that I really love is when some people come to me with multiple recommendations with a clear recommendation among those recommendations. So here are 3 options, and here's the clear winner for me, but they're still giving you the opportunity to see the other options and saying like, here's what we can get out of this option. Here's the creative element. Here's where we're bringing the product in and showing the value of the product. And also here's kind of what I expect the outcomes to be. This is one option, and this is the one that I recommend, but here are 2 other options, and here's what you'd get out of that. That really creates kind of trust, because you're giving people the opportunity to use their own evaluation of these ideas, but it's also showcasing that you've thought them all through and you have a clear value that you are bringing to the table. And so that's internally something as a leader, I love when people come to me with those things. They're saying, hey, there's multiple options and there's value from all of them, but this is the one that I think is the best. And usually, that's the one that I'll go with, or I'll be like, I want 90% this, maybe 10% of this other idea. When I'm getting pitched from an agency, I'd say that is very different than both of these. I am asking, first of all, we know there's multiple different types of agencies. I have a creative agency that is kind of in-house with me and always do like kind of working hand in hand with me. But when I'm getting pitched an external agency that I've never worked with before, they really need to showcase that they're unique, that they're different, that they're bringing value that I couldn't get from someone else. And partially that value can be that they're easy to work with. Like if they're someone that I get along with and that I like appreciate like their style of both presentation and collaboration, that's something that I look at really strongly. And so making sure you understand the needs, but also that you're not taking up too much time. You're not asking for 14 meetings on the way to a presentation. Maybe you're saying, hey, can I just connect with you in Slack really quickly and ask a few questions to make sure that you're really understanding the pain points and the needs, but understanding the value of your client's time, and coming in with as someone they'd want to work with. I think that that's really key from an external agency point of view.
And then, so you've talked a lot about world building in B2B. Oof. And you recently launched a campaign called The AI Guy, which I loved. I watched some of it on LinkedIn. Can you walk through a little bit, since you mentioned agencies, how that campaign came to life? Was that with an agency? Was that internally? Yeah. And sort of how you guys feel about the campaign and some of the reactions you've gotten.
Yeah. So I got this we got to do this about 2 months in. I'm still learning the brand, obviously, kind of building my team, because there was definitely more people that were joining after I started, even again, 5 months in. And I was learning in real time about this concept of AEO, answer engine optimization. It's like the next step of SEO. And I'm sure you've all been thinking about SEO for a long time. And this is very similar to SEO. So when I was being brought into the company, I was learning in real time about this concept called AEO. So we all know about SEO, search engine optimization, but this is the next step. It's answer engine optimization. And this is how we are showing up directly in answer engines. We know these days you're not asking Google, you're asking ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini for answers around any questions that you have. And so one of the really core product differentiations and moats that Webflow has is that we are the first of the web platforms that has a full product around SEO, AI SEO, and now AEO, AI AEO. So we're actually able to optimize your websites for search engines. A lot of the times you can see that with external agencies helping you, or with plugins into your WordPress or AEM, but this is actually a product built directly into Webflow that can help optimize your schema and help give recommendations on how you can optimize your answers showing up in answer engines. So one of the first things I did, of course, is bring in one of my trusted agencies. I was told I had about a few weeks to launch a campaign around AEO while I was still learning about the concept. And I brought in New Motion, who is someone that I worked with regularly at Salesforce. And we said, hey, we're still learning about this program. We're still learning about this product, but join us in this process. And we need to turn around some really core new messaging around AEO almost in real time. So we gave them the brief on Monday. On Tuesday, we asked them to come back to us with some ideas about what that messaging is and how we bring it to market in a creative way. And one of the core things that they really did, and working with us as an agency again, is they make it such a joy to work with them. Like they are in with us in Slack in real time. And they allow, instead of being like, hey, we're going to go away and come back with like figured out details and ideas, and you can give us feedback then. We they were like an extra set of hands. They are just another set of minds that are really talented in the creative space, and were able to work with us to get that day turnaround of ideas that we were able to present up to leadership. And the idea really came around a key kind of pain point that we all feel when we are talking to AI and we're asking questions, and sometimes we're getting hallucinations, and sometimes we are getting we don't know the answer even. And so building out AI as a person is something that I have just been like so excited to do, and building out kind of any pain point as a human being. And this is actually something we work together with at Salesforce, as well as making AI a human, and the pain points that we feel with AI and having those be human pain points has been really great. So we built out this character, AI guy. He was the humanification, maybe making up that word, of AI. And that pain point was really identified and utilized. And so I think the really core, we were able to create this fully fleshed idea, bring in a celebrity talent, and have it all filmed and distributed within 2 months of having that first idea. So we moved really fast because we had that core partnership, and we weren't just like going back and forth with core ideas. We really were in the process together. And then once we identified that human pain point, we were able to make a character that was that human pain point, and we're able to come to market with it.
Yeah, very cool. And so I guess another question is, feeds today are so crowded with everything from, meme videos to cats, like you have, your cat in your background now. We love cats. Yet you're trying to sell a fairly sophisticated product. So
Yeah.
like, I guess, what have you learned about using humor for B2B, or maybe just doing things that aren't just like infographics and aren't just quotes from the CEO? Those might be fine too, but doing things that actually stand out in a feed. What should another B2B marketer take away from what you've learned?
Okay, so I always joke that like we're competing with cats and babies in any of our feeds. And so we really do have to stand out. And the other thing that I have to remind people over and over again is that brand, specifically at the brand level, you are at the top of the funnel. Don't try to pretend that everyone that's following you on a social media feed or anywhere else wants to know everything about your product. Okay, so a few things to kind of dig into there. Number one is that we should not be showcasing a full product demo on social media. Nobody wants it. You'll be unfollowed. And that really is not kind of the touch point that we're talking to. Again, we're top of the funnel. The second point there is that 95% of your buyers are not in market. Only 5% are in market. And this is from the LinkedIn B2B Institute, which I quote probably daily. But what we're really learning from that is that if you're marketing only to bottom of the funnel or mid funnel, and those people that do want a demo, you're missing out on your long-term company success. So you need to market to that 95% of people, so they have your name and your company's name in their mouth, in their brain, when they do join the market, when they are looking to buy. And so to do that, a lot of the times, maybe you're not going to be explaining the complicated kind of measures or abilities of your product. You're going to be really looking to connect with them emotionally. And that's why we talked about that human emotion, that moment that we all know of. We are really kind of having difficulty with AI. And if you're able to touch that emotion of people in your feed and they find it funny, they're going to remember you for the long term. And that's really the key to top of the funnel, to brand messaging and to brand marketing.
I love that. And so you started to talk about, we're talking a little bit about creativity. You've said before that AI should be a creative partner, not a shortcut. I think I got that right from reading some of your thoughts on this. So how is your team practically using AI in like the brand and content process? And where do you still insist on human judgment?
I insist on human judgment everywhere. Let's be honest. I think one of the things that's really fun is we actually, a group of us built our own marketing chiefs of staff in ChatGPT during our company kickoff last week. So what does that mean? We were actually working with our chief evangelist, and he built the back end of this chief of staff. So bringing in all relevant materials and bringing in all the core information from our marketing team, and then built out prompts for us to answer to build out a chief of staff for ourselves. So this chief of staff knows company-wide marketing initiatives, and then it asks us the questions to really understand our core initiatives, who we work with, how we like to work, what are our weekly priorities, when we want them to kind of follow up with us. So having this chief of staff is going to allow us really to move faster in everything that we do. But one thing that I've asked is that no one sends a message in any way that has not been read over, that has not had your stamp of approval on it, because the amount of emails that are obvious or Slack messages that are obvious that have just been like generated through ideas it doesn't allow it is so obvious that it creates an impersonal experience. And I think now more than ever, we want that human experience. We want that connection. And just adding that single walkthrough and that single editing process after creating that will really help distill a human connection when you're sending messages of any sort. But having this chief of staff is really going to allow us to move faster and have that single source of truth that we're all working off of, because it will be updated as our marketing function is updated and our marketing messaging is updated.
That's very cool. I like the notion of a chief of staff AI.
Yeah.
So for marketers listening to this, who maybe don't have a Webflow or Salesforce level budget, they're maybe at a smaller company, but they still want to build a memorable brand. So do you have any ideas for maybe, because probably most of our listeners are, smaller business marketers. And I always like to ask them, because it's so nice to get the creative perspective from a large brand marketer who can tell them what are the things they could do to get to that point they get a larger budget.
Yeah. Well, I'll say my background before coming to Salesforce was actually in the music industry, and we did not have budgets. There was zero budget. Even when I was working for Red Bull's record label, it was like, here, have all of these things happen, and here's your budget, $0. So I feel like the idea of working without a budget has been part of how I work for even at Salesforce and now at Webflow. It's like, how do you make the most of your budget when you have it? But how do you think and build organic content, organic kind of connection without budget? And one of the things that I did back in the music industry days, and that's actually just shaped how I think about companies and how I think about building brands, is I worked on communities. Community, I think, is one of the most impactful things that you can do with your brand. One of an example back in the day, I worked with this musician named Joe Purdy. And Joe Purdy, he had a bunch of his songs that were used in Grey's Anatomy. And there was all these like Grey's Anatomy fan sites. And I just reached out to all of them. I said like, hey, I work with Joe. His music is on this show. You're super fans. How can I connect you with Joe? How can I have Joe become part of this community where we can do organic elements of him meeting and greeting with fans that you're already connected with? How can we have giveaways based on UGC content? And we really did connect a lot further with his fans. And we created new fans by building out this community. And that was the beginning of my time in like community building. And then at Salesforce, similarly, one of the biggest things that they did was invest in their community. And that wasn't just money. That was time. That was energy. And that was really kind of creating an organization that put the community at the center of everything they did. That leaned into customers as well. But they had their own organic conferences that we'd bring our key Salesforce executives to. We would give them beta level testing and alpha level testing of our products to really showcase not only showcase that we care about them, but also using their feedback in our product development process. We would bring them in for message testing, keynote testing. And I actually, when I was looking at companies, one of the biggest things I was looking at is what is their community like? And Webflow has a similar community that is so passionate about the product that they're building not only their brands and their companies on Webflow, they're building their careers. And if you can find a way to really connect with your audiences and build that community, that's the biggest thing you can do at marketing without a large budget, is build that community, connect with people, help them be better, and then in turn, they will help you be better.
I love that. And a lot of marketers who haven't built, if you have built a community as a marketer, you sort of get the compounding effects and the fact that you have all these people to be a voice for your brand and act on your behalf. And the marketers who've never done it or never worked at a brand large enough to have done it, I would recommend, at least joining a company that has large communities so you can see what it's like, and you'll take that with you when you join new companies.
But I mean, like, not just that, it's like you can build it from the ground up. Like the community was not like created once Salesforce was an 80,000 person company. It was built when it was a 1,000 person company. It was built by the people that were working with the product when it was a 500, 300 person company. And some of those people are still involved and invested in the company. Similarly with Webflow, we have so many community members that have been building on Webflow since 2012. That's when the company was founded. And you meet these people that are like, I was there at the beginning. I was giving feedback at the beginning. And some of them come in-house too. My head of design and web, he had been working with the product since 2017, 2018, and he had actually built an agency, a Webflow agency, had been part of the community. And now he's internal. He is leading this large team for me that's actually building Webflow on Webflow. And so I think it's how you engage those people from the very beginning, how you create super fans, how you have them invested in your company. Similarly, you need to be invested in them. It is a two-way street, and you can do it at any size company.
Love that. So Marissa, one question we ask all of our guests at the end is about their career. And we have so many smart people on the show that are really successful like yourself. What advice would you give a young marketer coming into the world today, coming into this AI-powered world? What would you say to them about getting started and their first job?
Okay, so I have a few things. In the AI-powered world, we're such at the ground floor still. I know that there is still so much that has already happened, but we are really still at the ground floor. There is almost like an opportunity for you to be an expert no matter what stage of your career you're in. I actually have been getting like late night texts from someone that used to work for me about everything he is doing with ChatGPT and Claude right now. He is so excited to learn, and he's constantly learning, but we just need to recognize anyone can be an expert right now. Be hungry for AI, be hungry to learn, be hungry to teach. And there's any level of your career, you can be at the forefront of how we're using AI. So that is first, that's the AI driven one. When it comes to a career, I think I have two big things. One is when you're looking at jobs, the JD, the what they're looking for is never what your job is going to end up being. So look for the people, look for the managers that you want to follow. The opportunity is going to be different from the job description to when you're actually doing the job. So the people that you're following, the leaders that you're following, the mentors that you're following, those are who are really going to affect your job. And that's something that I've seen over and over again is the people that have either followed the best managers they've had, or they have really kind of chosen really strong managers and leaders to work with. They're the ones that go the farthest. And it's really exciting to see. And on that same note, at the beginning of your career, be hungry. Like, I'm not saying you need to work 24/7, but be that person that jumps in and offers to do things. And I think one of the key roles that people don't even think about at the beginning of their marketing careers is being a program manager, being a project manager, because that's something that gets your feet in the door in so many different areas. The opportunity to learn about so many different programs. It is such a great kind of origin story for great marketers across the board, because you're getting your feet in the door and understanding so many different areas, and then you get to choose the direction that you want to go. But it also really forces you to be the most organized person in the room, and to have a touch point with the most different areas. So those would be my 3.
Awesome. Well, Marissa, this has been a really great conversation. Where should marketers go to connect with you? And we'll also put links in the show notes, but what's the best place to say hi?
Hi, I'm definitely a LinkedIn-er, but I would just warn you, I'm not good at responding to messages. I'm living on unreads. But Marissa Kraines on LinkedIn, and I will accept as many invitations as they allow me to. So it's exciting to see where what folks are posting in their feed, so I can really be inspired as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on the show today, and we will see you for a new episode next week.
Thank you.